Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Prem Roundup. Today, I will be giving my predictions for the Premier League table. I left this as late as possible so that I could see the squads at their most final states before the first match kicks off. So with that, let's begin with the bottom of the table. Starting us off in last place will be Leicester City. And the reason I say that is mainly because of the pending points deduction that they have due to their financial fair play, along with losing their manager and not really having a strong attack. Jamie Vardy's still up there. No one really impressing me up there, and that's why I have Leicester City sitting at 20th. In 19th place, I have Southampton. Their lack of Premier League proven players and a playing style that invites a lot of pressure has me putting them here. And then finally, for the last of the relegation teams, I have Ipswich. I think Ipswich will be a very good team this year, and I think they will keep it close to the final day, but I just don't see the goal-scoring production from the Championship coming up and replicating in the Premier League. Just above them, I have Nottingham Forest in 17th place, and I want to sort of put a caveat on these lower mid-table teams. I think all of them are going to be very close, and it could be just a couple points between all of them. I just have Forest down here in 17th. I think they're a really good squad, but I just don't trust Nuno as a manager at this point. In 16th place, I've gone with Brighton. For similar reasons, new manager coming in, they lost Pascal Gross, and there's a potential that they may lose Billy Gilmore as well, who are some key players, but I think Brighton has a very solid structure, and they'll always have a next man up mentality, and they'll be pretty quality this year. In 15th place, I've gone with Wolves. I love Gary O'Neill as a manager. I think the squad is a little bit lacking going forward without Pedro Neto, and the injury history of the front three isn't all that great. In 14th place, I've gone with Brentford. I think they're going to have a bounce-back season, and I think they'll find a lot of success, especially having Ivan Toney for a full season. In 13th place, I've gone with Fulham. Not a very deep squad, and it could go poorly if they can't properly replace Palhinha in the middle of the park, but I think Marco Silva is an incredible manager who should be at a bigger club, and I think he'll be able to get them close to the middle of the table. In 12th place, I have Bournemouth. The addition of Evan Nielsen right here at the end of the window to replace Dominic Solanke I think will be a good one, and I think they'll catch some really good form in the latter half of the season to get up to 12th. Just outside the top half, I have Everton. I think they have a very deep squad, and I like Sean Dyche as a manager, and with a relatively easy start to the season, I think they can have a really positive season and push for those European spots. Finishing in 10th place, just outside of Europe, will be Crystal Palace. The looming threat of losing big pieces like Mark Guéhi and Eberechi Eze, on top of already losing Michael Olise, are what holds this team back from really making a challenge at those lower European spots, but overall I think they will still have a good season. In 9th place, I have West Ham United. They have a very talented squad if Lucas Paqueta can still play throughout the season amid his betting scandal that he's got going on. How quickly their new signings can gel together and start playing well is very important for them, and if the manager can get the best out of them, as I don't trust the manager fully. 8th place will belong to Chelsea. The chaotic nature of their transfer window, partnered with a new manager, have me putting them this low. The talent's there, but there's no sign of consistency from the club, and it worries me. Finishing in 7th place, I have Manchester United. The history of injuries which have already plagued the squad throughout the preseason is the reason why they're so low. When fully fit, they have a squad that should be able to challenge for the Champions League spots, but I won't believe it until I can see them get through a whole season fit. In 6th place, I have Aston Villa. The Champions League campaign will have a big impact on them throughout the season, as well as impactful outgoings of Douglas Luiz and possibly Diego Carlos. Just missing out on the top 4 this year will be Newcastle United. Injuries and the Champions League derailed their season last year. Without Europe, they should be able to make a good charge for the top 4. Holding on the key players Alexander Isak and Bruno Guimaraes will have them in contention for top 4 all season. In 4th place, getting the last Champions League spot, will be Tottenham Hotspur. I think this is a very young and exciting squad with a good manager who can be rooted in his ways at time, and he needs to get away from that at times. The addition of Dominic Solanke is huge, and I expect a very big season from him. 3rd place belongs to Liverpool. Fighting for the title most of the season, it's important for them to get off to a fast start for new manager Arne Slot. It's a very quality squad, and they should be in the thick of the title race come April and possibly into May. And now for the final 2. This is most people's final 2 and the betting favorites for the title. And for me, I personally think that this is the year that Arsenal finally does it. 3rd year's a charm, and they will win the Premier League title. Man City has been dominant in the Premier League recently. 4 in a row, 5 of the last 6. They have an incredibly deep squad and are arguably one of the best teams in the world. But with the 115 charges looming over their head and that hearing being moved up to September, I think 5 in a row is not going to come for them. It's going to be a very tight title race, and I think it's one that could go until the last day of the season. For Arsenal, their defense should be even better than it was last year, and if their attack can stay fit, they may not need a 20-plus goal scorer up front when they could potentially have 5 players all scoring over 10 goals. Their key to the season is how quickly they start, with tough games against Villa, Spurs, and City all within their first 5 games of the season and all away from home. And that wraps up my Premier League predictions. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday for a recap of all the Premier League action from this weekend.